Thank you. I'm delighted to be here today. Did you know everything in space is location-based? Our premise is that there is no robust space-based economy in the future without location-based services. We're building a SaaS business to enable the future deep space market. Next slide, please. Why are maps important? What makes a map valuable is that to develop a new frontier, it always requires a map. Whoever holds the map to a new frontier holds an extremely critical key to the future. From the great age of exploration, the major powers sent explorers around the globe to map things. The very first international company, the Dutch East India Company, which was powerful for more than 200 years, held that power because they had superior maps. And in the 1990s, Craig Ventnor knew that to fully take advantage of the benefits of the new field of genomics, it was necessary to map the human genome. Next slide, please. Fast forward to today, 99% of our solar system is not mapped. We believe anyone who has the SpaceMap will have a profound advantage. So where does the SpaceMap all begin? In space, everything is in motion. In order to create this map, you need to start with trajectory software. Does this software exist today? Yes, but it's slow, expensive, and complicated to install and run. We aim to make these kinds of calculations in near real time on a SaaS platform. Next slide, please. Let me ask you this question. How much would it cost to buy Google Maps today? Did the rest of the investors and the rest of us imagine Zillow, Uber, or Yelp just a mere 16 years ago? Google enabled them because Google had a map for others to build upon. Google Maps drives the vast majority of the market today. To enter the location-based space market, you'll need a map. Space is all about trajectories, where you are and where you're going. And we believe the longer-term opportunity for us will be a merger or acquisition. What we're building is a moonshot that goes far beyond the moon. Engineering and business milestones over the next 5 years will establish our long-term leadership and cement our first mover advantage. Our map, next slide, please. Our map will enable the future economic development of space beyond the crowded field of low Earth orbit where the majority of all the satellites, instruments, and space junk reside today. The deep space market will be enabled by access to a dynamic, four-dimensional, time being the fourth dimension, map of space. Our map will open up possibilities beyond Earth. Next slide, please. Our near-term customers are companies building, flying, and operating space missions. These satellite builders and commercial aerospace companies have navigation teams. The team is typically a group of PhDs. They buy expensive software or write their own software or use open source software. Then they customize it and build it and rebuild it and create algorithms over and over. Essentially, it's homegrown, inefficient, expensive, and slow. Our software delivers trajectories and mission plans in minutes, not months, and without the team of PhDs. Our near-term market is the growing commercial missions and perhaps the government, missions that are going to the moon and beyond, to deep space. Similar to the recent development of launch services by entrepreneurs, which dramatically reduce launch costs, our software will reduce costs and navigational planning time. In the near term, we're confident in achieving a positive cash flow. In the medium to long term, we plan to enable a new era of deep space mobility. Next slide, please. Now, you might perceive some of these companies as our competition. They focus on providing services just above the atmosphere. They operate man-made objects that circulate around our home planet. These companies track satellites and space junk and deliver Earth-based mapping, navigation, and communication services. Our customers are going beyond Earth. Next slide, please. Now, in order to build the space map, you need experts in astrodynamics. That's the study of things moving in space, and cloud developers, and experts in satellite and space mission operations. If you don't have all three, you cannot build this. Dr. Ed Liu leads our product team and is a former NASA astronaut with 30 years of experience, including being an early Google Map leader, as well as co-founder of Leo Labs. Carice and Kathleen were recruited from Google and Lockheed, and Hank is the CTO at Applied Defense. John, Allen, and other members of our team have decades of space experience. And our work is supported by partnerships and funding from Google, AGI, DARPA, and others. Next slide, please.
30-second warning.
Yep. So what's our technology? It's a cloud-based platform that calculates where things are and where they're going in space. And we're building it on Google and in the future other platforms. And we're building it at scale. Next slide, please. We believe that space is the next great frontier, and whoever controls the space map, as in all other frontiers, is going to have a tremendous advantage. Next slide, please. We're seeking patient funders and partners who share our long-term vision for the space economy. Won't you join us? Thank you.
Open up the floor for questions for Danica Reming from B612 or Developing SpaceMap.
Hi, great presentation. This is Charles Cooper from Siemens Industry Software. Danica, I just saw quickly the logo. I was going to ask a question about AGI because I'm familiar with AGI, and I saw the logo on one of your last slides. I was curious because we see that as a good potential as we provide software for simulating all those objects, satellites, aircraft, and so on. Being able to couple that with mission planning software would be great. We were initially working with AGI, but now they've been acquired by ANSYS. So just curious how you position compared to AGI.
So AGI has been quite instrumental in the development of our software. They've been a really great partner. They're very focused on the low Earth market, and our market is, I said in the presentation, is really beyond low Earth orbit. And we're trying to build a SaaS business, and as you know, AGI, although they have a small SaaS product, the vast majority of their income is from a desktop-based licensing product that has a price point of an annual seat license of $250,000 a year. So they are very supportive of what we're doing because we're going beyond low Earth orbit. And they're looking at us, obviously as an opportunity to understand how you might be able to provide the SaaS services in a different way than they're currently doing in their current product suite. And John Carrico was a lead developer on something that's called the Satellite Toolkit. And John Hank also worked at AGI. So, we're really leveraging a lot of the work that was done by that key leader in the field, but we're trying to apply it both to a different market and to a different platform suite. Does that help?
Yes, it does, absolutely. And so you partly answered my second question, which was about if your tool would also be applicable for low Earth orbit. And I guess I wasn't clear if it
yeah,
is not.
Yeah, I mean, the kind of the fundamental parts of it, if I boil it down to just the smallest part, when you're in LEO, you have Earth at the center of your model, and you have all the force factors that have to do with being in low Earth orbit. Because we're looking at a market that is the deep space market. The sun is at the center of our model, and we have to use force models from, just dozens and dozens, hundreds and hundreds of different kinds of force factors. And so our computational challenge is a different one than the low Earth market. So while we could, we're not going to, in particular because that's AGI's market and we don't want to be in it.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, we're gonna move on already to the next presentation. Thank you. That was Danica Reming from B612 and their SpaceMap development. Anybody's looking for forward thinking and opening up both exploration and also the new market in space, please contact Danica. Danica, reminder, anybody that has questions, you can answer questions within the chat, open it up as well as for attendees.